Hello again. In the first video, I talked about schoolyard bullies and sadistic teachers, even the extraordinary Mrs. Gandhi, who taught me to fear power without accountability. Bullies were people who used force when reason and speech fail them. But lucky me, there was even more learning coming my way. From 13 to 25, I got to experience living in a dictatorship. On vacations from school in India, I visited my parents in the oil-rich sheikdoms of the Arabian Gulf, where my dad worked as a finance professional. In the beginning, he lived in an expatriate's dream with a fat paycheck and delighted in providing a better life for the family. Very soon, though, I noticed that his pride in being a better provider and his fondness for luxury cars, electronics, and exotic foods diminished in the face of the daily discriminations and humiliations he faced as a brown man and an infidel. He had nightmares about vengeful officials and capricious Arab bosses who could arbitrarily fire, arrest, or deport him. A once confident man who had routinely driven his family in rickety cars across potholed Indian roads, he was now petrified of breaking down on world-class highways where being brown was an invitation for harassment or even violence. He went from being an enthusiastic expatriate to feeling like an unwanted interloper once he realized that being brown, a non-Muslim, and a foreigner meant that he had absolutely no rights. These experiences made me think hard about rule of law and universal human rights. I wondered how these countries could discriminate against colored people and women so blatantly, often paying them a fraction of what white folk and local Muslims got. I wondered how they got away with keeping construction workers in subhuman conditions and abused domestic workers. I wondered what kind of a society it was where the powerful took whatever they fancied, and if a local Arab rear-ended your car, you paid the fine or were arrested. By the time I was 25, I understood what life in the Middle Ages, before Enlightenment and democracy, might have looked like. Here, then, are the lessons that I learned at my father's expense. 1. Dictators, demagogues, sheikhs, and ayatollahs believe that they have all the answers. 2. If you live in one of these countries, try not to piss them or any of their friends and family off. 3. People in power are terrified of open and free societies and often contemptuous of democracy. 4. In these societies, wealth, race, sex, and religion are the only things that define you. 5. Many folks seem to be willing to give up their human rights as long as they can get a great job, car, house, and a good education for their kids. 6. Oh, and dictatorships sometimes do a great job at keeping streets safe and clean. So here's my question for today.